BSR, Broad Spectrum Radio, eclectic, peace-oriented radio programming aired on stations around the world and online at BroadSpectrumRadio.com. Welcome to the BSR Friday Show from BroadSpectrumRadio.com. Your host for today is James Branham. This program is being aired on January 6, 2017 on Community Talk Radio, KTLR 890 AM, and its FM repeater 103.7 FM in Oklahoma City, as well as online at BroadSpectrumRadio.com. In this program, we'll share some updates on some of our other programming from Broad Spectrum Radio available online and on shortwave radio. We'll also share some news about our new Android apps. There'll be an update from the Mennonite Radio project. And finally, we'll air a short version of Exploring Aspergia, our show by and for people on the Aspergers autism spectrum. So, stay tuned. Well, at the present moment, we have a lot of new content up on our website that we want to share, including new episodes of Peace Buzz by Serena Blaze, a new show, Red Town Radio, by Brenda Golden, and several episodes of Exploring Aspergia. Most of these, I think it's all of these programs actually, and some of our other programs come from our partner, Upwave Media, which is a project of the Center for Conscience and Action of Oklahoma City. Now, due to length and funding constraints, we will be airing only excerpts from these programs in the coming weeks on KTLR. However, the full-length programs are all available via our podcast. You can use your favorite podcast program. I'm a fan of Podcast Republic, but there's lots of them out there. Or you can just go to our website, BroadSpectrumRadio.com. Speaking of ways that you can listen to BSR programming, we want to make sure that all of our listeners know that we now have an Android app. It includes links to listen to all of our programs, as well as lots of other useful information. And as an added bonus, we are using the app to raise some funds for this project. You can find out more about the app on our website, or just search the Google Play Store for Broad Spectrum Radio. By the way, an Apple iOS app may be in the works later, but for now, this app is only available for Android devices. The special episode that had been planned for today for our relaunch of Mennonite Radio is delayed 1 week, but we will be airing that next week. Same time, same station, KTLR 890 AM, as well as on International Shortwave Radio station WBCQ, and of course online. For 2017, our broadcast of Mennonite Radio will feature speakers from the pews, or in our case, folding chairs, at Joy Mennonite Church. Ordinary folks telling their experiences of following the nonviolent and inclusive teachings of Jesus in their everyday life. Joy Mennonite meets in an old house at the corner of Northeast 16th and Lincoln, just south of the state capitol. The address is 504 Northeast 16th Street in Oklahoma City. Worship starts at 10:30 a.m., and this week there's a potluck afterwards. Visitors don't need to bring food, by the way. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Dress is casual, and all are welcome. Find out more about Joy at joymennonite.org. Also, I've got to mention, though, as far as our upcoming Mennonite Radio episodes, starting in February and onward, they will be on the first broadcast on KTLR each month for BSR. So the first Friday of each month, 11 a.m., you'll be hearing from Mennonite Radio. The other weeks of the month will be continue our mix of programming through the BSR Magazine show.
Exploring Aspergia.
Episode number 13. Your host for today is James Branham. For today's episode of Exploring Aspergia, and normally this is a 30-minute program that's aired on shortwave radio and online through our podcast, but today I'm airing a shorter version of the program to give our listeners via KTLR in Oklahoma City a taste of the Exploring Aspergia show, a show that is by, for, and about people on the Asperger's autism spectrum. A lot of people out there are presuming to speak for people on the spectrum, groups like Autism Speaks and others. But we would argue, as people on the spectrum, that we can speak for ourselves, thank you. And so this program is a program that's from that perspective, of arguing especially that the idea of neurodiversity is a good thing, that it is important. and that we want to share the positive aspects of being on the spectrum, but also about the challenges. And especially this program is for people on the spectrum, their family members and others that love them, to know that there are resources and helps out there, but also to know that fundamentally you're awesome just as you are. And that, yeah, you might have to find ways to cope with this neurotypical world, but that doesn't mean the way you are is flawed or inherently bad. And that right now, our society, our medical system often pathologizes the differences of humanity. This program is about reclaiming some of what makes us special. So anyway, one of the big news that I wanted to share in today's program is about some of our previous programs. We have some really good ones online only. My wife and I, Becky and I, we have been doing some conversations at local restaurants talking about issues of living on the spectrum. And so those programs are going up on the website today. So I encourage you to check them out. But one of the other things we're doing with Exploring Aspergia is that we have created an Android app. Again, we talked about that earlier, some of the other programs in BSR, but for Exploring Aspergia, this app is not just a list of our programs that you can listen to, but also has a whole wealth of resources for people on the autism spectrum, for autistic people, I should say. And so I wanted to kind of give a little taste of this, share a little bit about what this app is like, and so that folks who might be out there that want to check it out can. So first, of course, one needs to get the app. And the easy way to do that is go to the Google Play Store, any Android phone, that's how you download apps. Search for Exploring Aspergia. Aspergia is spelled Aspergia. And you can find the app there, or you can search for the business name I'm using for this project, for building apps, is KG5JST. That's my ham radio call sign, by the way. KG5JST. So search for one of those, either Exploring Aspergia or KG5JST. Download the app. Now, after you have the app installed on your phone or tablet, the front page has a compass at the front, a symbol of exploration. And then below that, there are 3 sets of links, and then below that's another set of links. And the top 3 links are all just giving our unique content from the Exploring Aspergia project. It includes the episodes of Exploring Aspergia, our new episodes as they come out. You can find them there. There's a page for telling about this project, contact information, etc. But the second half of the page is what I'm really excited about, and it is entitled A Trip to Aspergia, Resources, Community Advocacy, and More. So, for that section, it's broken down into 5 categories of content. The first one, and we'll discuss each of these in turn, resources for screening and diagnosis. And then for this section, what I'm looking at are screening tools, quizzes, tests that one can take to help to know if it's appropriate to inquire further. You know, there's a lot of people out there wondering, am I on the spectrum? Do I have these challenges? Do I have these awesome quirkiness? This is a good starting place. And so I have some of the best screening tools out there that I've had recommended by psychologists, that I've used myself, that are there. There's also discussion here, 2 sections. One is on the issue of self-diagnosis, including discussion and resources. The reason for that, there's a lot of adults out there who need the understanding of diagnosis, of understanding what's going on, but don't necessarily need a professional to say that. They're not looking for services or anything like that, just needing their own personal confirmation. So there's discussion of that, but I also have some resources on the topic of professional diagnosis, including a few different counselors I know that do diagnostic services for adults via Skype in some locations. So that's the screening and diagnosis page. On the app, there's another page for Aspie community. By the way, for those of you who are not familiar, Aspie is a term of endearment. A lot of people on the spectrum refer to themselves. People who have Asperger's or who are Aspergistic may describe themselves as Aspies. Or they may describe themselves as autist, people who are autistic. And so on this page, I have links to some different online communities, as well as blogs and websites written by Aspies and autists. By the way, I should mention, you're noticing, as much as possible, unless them slip up, I try to use identity-first language. Instead of saying a person with autism, I try to say an autistic person. And the idea here is that to say someone has something implies that it's a disease, and it really isn't. It's probably better to describe it as a syndrome or a condition rather than a disease or a disorder, because it's a mix of positive and negative. And so I'm trying as much as possible to use identity-first language. I sometimes forget, but that's what I aim for. Okay. So that is the Aspie community page. Third section in the trip to Aspergia part is Aspie Media. That includes blogs, Twitter, etc. A lot of good stuff out there, websites and whatnot. But I also have a page on the app for podcast, video logs, including YouTube, etc. And I want to mention particularly a couple that I really enjoy. On the subject of one that I listen to often called the Thrive with Aspergers podcast. And that is one is done by a psychologist who's not on the spectrum but has a lot of deep understanding of spectrum issues and has a very positive perspective. I really like his program a lot. I also like a couple of video bloggers out there that have their videos on YouTube, including Hannah Rydell, I think is how she says her name, is Riedel, and also the Ask an Autistic channel with Amethyst Shaber. So both of those are really good. I encourage you to check them out. There's a lot of others on this page. Then, finally, I have a section for Aspie Advocacy. And these are organizations, self-advocacy groups out there that help people on the spectrum to speak for themselves, but also ally organizations that may be composed mostly of neurotypical people, but are on our side. And then also some links of information about some of the groups out there that I don't recommend working with, including Autism Speaks and the Autism Spectrum Disorder Foundation. There's some information about that. Anyway, all of that is on our Android app. So anyway, I encourage you to check it out. You can, of course, go to our website and find all the information there. But probably the easiest thing to do is just go to the Google Play Store, search for Exploring Aspergia. So anyway, that's a little taste of what we have with the Exploring Aspergia radio show. We'll be doing this a lot more consistently in the coming year, aiming for once a month. 30-minute program. It can be available online as well as some broadcasts on International Shortwave Radio stations. We may air some excerpts here as well on KTLR, but probably will not be airing full-length programs because I don't have the money for the airtime right now. So anyway, I encourage you to check it out. Thank you so much for listening. We'll close out today's program of the BSR Friday show with a little bit of music. Thank you so much for all your thoughts and comments. Of course, be sure and visit our website, BroadSpectrumRadio.com, or visit us on Facebook.
This land is your land, and this land is my land, from the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I went a-walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway, saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts. All around me a voice was sounding, this land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling. The voice was chanting as the fog was lifting, this land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. When the sun comes shining, then I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, the dust clouds rolling, the voice coming chanting, and the fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me.